Go Go Power Rangers! Ages ago, I talked about the early times of Power Rangers with the original movie, but now it's all about my time with the show. I started watching Power Rangers when I was about 4 years old in 2000, with Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. This season was all about the Rangers being recruited from different backgrounds to become part of a rescue team called, oddly enough, Lightspeed Rescue. Their job was to be first responders, defending the city from destructive attacks by pesky demons, led by the mother of all maniacs, Queen Banshira. It might sound like the usual Power Rangers stuff, but one thing I always liked is that the Rangers were full-blown adults rather than teenagers with attitude, so being a Ranger was more like an actual job, and less a case of being the chosen one, which made it more aspirational for young me at the time, so it's no wonder I became obsessed with this show. As a kid, I collected the toys, the merch, and of course, VHS tapes. I had one tape called Curse of the Cobra that actually came with a Power Rangers toy, and it even had ads for the toys before the main feature.
Summon House Rescue and Met Rescue, and combine them to become the all-powerful Deluxe Lightspeed Megazord.
Seeing all those parts click together was so addictive, but one thing on the tape that really caught my attention was an ad for the Lightspeed Rescue video game on the original PlayStation.
Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue is here! Help all your favorite characters battle the forces of evil in an all-new video game.
I've said before that these VHS ads always made me desperate to play the games, and this was no exception. Getting the opportunity to play as a Power Ranger just seemed amazing back then. I could only dream of all the cool action and adventure you'd get to experience. So when I found out that my cousin had this game, I politely arranged to borrow it from him and never gave it back. I can only thank him for his generosity. Even looking at the back cover still makes me excited. Huge monster battles? Cool power-ups? Save innocent people? Is that really a selling point? I always loved all the ads in the instruction manual as well, like all the toys you could buy at the time. I think I had almost all of these except for that giant Megazord. Well, let's get playing. There are some interesting logos here. Watch Fox Kids? I'm guessing that's a direct order. This game starts off with a bit crushed version of the show's intro, and honestly, I think this might be my favourite Power Rangers theme song.
Lightspeed Rescue! The signal is calling. Our planet is falling. The danger will test you.
But it's interesting that this is actually an extended version of the song.
Rangers, go! Power Rangers!
That bit definitely wasn't in the show. Weirdly, the high scores on the title screen all have the names of the actors from the show. Well, it makes sense the Red Ranger would have the high score, because he's fearless in the show. Digging into the actual game, first we have to select a difficulty. I'm going normal because I'm not a sadist, and we get a selection of 5 Rangers to choose from, and a mysterious 6th option. I wonder who that could be. I'm going with the Red Ranger, because, as previously discussed, Red Ranger is best Ranger. We begin with some instructions from our leader, Captain Mitchell, who looks nothing like he does in the show. It's like he aged 100 years. What happened?
Your mission, Rangers. Neutralize this evil so that the police can enter the building.
Still, one positive is that all the voices in the game are completely accurate to the ones in the show, so it feels quite authentic if you ignore the PS1 horror faces. So the first level starts you off on some rooftops, and the goal here is to beat up the bad guys and rescue the hostages dotted around the level. But the first problem here is that you move very sluggishly, and last time I checked, the Rangers are supposed to be pretty fast and agile, so the control isn't getting off to a great start here. Generally, this game is a basic beat-em-up, but if you're looking for great Ranger combat here, then you're in the wrong place. You'd think fighting would be the best thing about being a Power Ranger, but the punches and kicks feel so slow and badly timed, and if there are any actual combos here, I have no idea what they are. It feels like the enemies just give you a beating before you ever get to hit them. There is a special move you can charge up by collecting, Spyro's gems, which give you the ability to blast a big laser, but that's all you get. What about all the great Power Ranger weapons? These guys have more firepower than the Death Star, and all you get is a laser? What about the V-Lancers, or the Battle Booster, or even the Standard Blaster? For a Power Rangers game, it doesn't make you feel that powerful. Still, one positive is that I think the graphics are pretty okay by the standards of the time, and they have a certain charm. The music is also decent as well in that catchy PS1 way. But it's all about the gameplay, and as you make your way through this office block, it becomes seriously generic. There's only so many batlings you can fight with lousy punches before getting bored. In the middle of the level, there's a boss fight with a demon to break up the monotony, but the only difference from the normal enemies is that they do way more damage to you, so it takes twice as long to vanquish them. At the end of the level, there's an even bigger boss fight with Vipera, one of the show's main villains, and it's nice to see them represented here. Shame we don't get to see her big buggy though. But it's all the same thing. Smash your minions up, strike her down, and victory is yours. The second level puts you in a big dam, where you have to destroy these spike things before they can cause an earthquake. One annoying thing is these air vents that hurt you for seemingly no reason. I mean, it's just an air vent, what's so painful about it? But after the usual fighting, you face off against Loki, another big bad from the show, but after you beat him, you have to face him again in a Megazord battle, and this is another cool thing that you would expect to see in the game. The only problem is that it's just as clunky as the Rangers, and the Megazord has no real special abilities, outside of a basic missile attack. I swear the huge toy I owned as a kid had way more features than this. After he goes down, the next level is set on top of the super train, which I think is a really fun idea for a level. You have to make your way from one train to the other until you reach the front, but on every train you have to face Jinxer, the monster maker from the show, who looks incredibly tall compared to the Rangers, and every time he shows up, he does this weird rave dance. But once you jinx Jinxer, it's on to the next level, where a volcano has erupted right near the city, which seems to be the only level in the game based on an actual episode, but I don't remember the part where the city turned into a river of lava. Like, what's going on here? It's like the movie Volcano on acid. After the usual awkward lava platforming challenges, you actually face 3 bosses in this level, all of which are as bland as ever. The last boss is Diabolico, the head honcho demon from the show, who was tough, formidable, and took the Rangers everything they had to beat him, but I just kicked him off the cliff in 2 seconds. Of course you also have to defeat Diabolico in giant form, which is a bit harder, but once he's through, the next level is more of a waterfront location. I think the music here is my favourite track from the game. There's something very chill about it. This time, you have to find these fuel cell things hidden in various secret locations around the level. They can be tricky to find, since you have to search the rooftops and even a boat, and by this point of the game, I'm getting really tired of fighting all these batlings. There's no variation or anything, it's just the same enemy with the same attacks over and over again. It's driving me batty. Once you grab all the fuel cells, you have to face Queen Banshira's son Olympius, that bratty demon from the show who tried to steal all of Diabolico's thunder. I always hated that guy. After the obligatory Megazord battle, we reach one of the best levels in the game, the Lightspeed Aqua Base. This was an amazing location from the show, and it's great to see it realised in video game form here. There are so many hidden passageways and elevators, it felt huge as a kid, even if the enemies are still the same old boring thing. So the demons have taken over the base and captured Captain Mitchell. You have to clear out the base and rescue him, before confronting a couple of bosses, which I don't think were ever in the show. At the end of the level, you pick up a secret key piece, and there are 3 of these hidden throughout the game. If you find all 3 of them, you get a chance to unlock the Titanium Ranger, the hidden 6th Ranger, otherwise known as the coolest one of them all. Interestingly, he was purely an American creation, and had nothing to do with the original Japanese Sentai show, making him quite unique. But before all that, you have to beat the final level. Strangely, if you play the game on easy mode, the game ends right at the Aqua Base, and you only get this image of Queen Banshira mocking you, which only confused me as a kid. But this is the missing piece, a final attack on the Queen's Palace. It's a snowy wasteland with all kinds of annoying platform challenges. I can't stand this thing where you have to dodge all the flames. The Titanium Ranger is locked up in a hidden area near the bottom of the map, and saving him is sweet, sweet satisfaction. After that, you make your way to the palace, where you face a final boss rush mode of all the big demons you fought before. That's 5 bosses in total. Hope you have enough lives for this. Once all the demons are down, you don't face Queen Banshira personally, but you do have to defeat her in the Omega Megazord, which is probably more mega than a Megazord needs. It's about as underwhelming as all the other Zord battles, and once you defeat her, you get a final thank you from Captain Mitchell.
Evil has been banished. Your training and skills have saved the day.
If this is what it's like working as a Power Ranger, then I quit. Still, it's not all wasted time. For your troubles, you do unlock some stuff in the gallery, like some neat concept art and a bunch of set photos from the show, and now that you've saved the Titanium Ranger, you do get to play as him, but he's just as slow and dull as all the other Rangers. You get a special ground thump move, and that's it. So for one of the most powerful Rangers ever, the Titanium Ranger is a titanic disappointment. Overall, this was a mindless butter masher if ever I saw one. You'd think playing as a Power Ranger would be one of the most fun things ever, but it's just a slow, clunky, awkward experience. Not only that, but at 7 levels, it's extremely short. It only took me about an hour and a half to finish it, and I'm not making this up. I think I need to call Lightspeed Rescue to rescue me from this game. Well, Power Rangers still has one more chance to redeem itself with a sequel game, Power Rangers Time Force. Ooh, lowest price guaranteed. It was a steal back then, honestly. In my humble opinion, this is peak Power Rangers. It was all about a group of cops from the future who travel back in time to pursue an insane criminal called Ransik, easily the best villain of the entire franchise. This season was darker, cooler, and had tons more merch, including the video game. Again, the back of the manual is a massive ad campaign, showing off those shiny Time Force toys and the first VHS release, which I watched endlessly as a kid. Actually, it also has an ad for the video game, with music that just screams hype 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 to me. Once again, we get a weird Fox Kids logo. Why is it Power Rangers in space? As for the game itself, it's basically more of the same thing. You get 5 Rangers to choose from, but one thing I can't believe is that they clearly modelled this Morpher image on the toy instead of the prop. It even has the on-off button. Unbelievable. The first level drops you right into the Rangers escaping from their crashed time ship on the beach, with the Red Ranger there, which makes no sense, because they meet him later on in the show. Like I said, the gameplay is very similar to Lightspeed Rescue, except this time it feels a bit faster and easier to control, but it's still not perfect. This time, you have to contend with cyclobots in your path, and more of an emphasis on platforming challenges, like dodging these boulders coming out of the cliff. I'm sure that's a safe thing for people on the beach, and every time you get hit, the Ranger says the same thing, over and over again.
Gotta be more careful. Gotta be more careful. Gotta be more careful.
I swear, you'll hear that so many times, you'll be able to say it in your sleep.
Gotta be more careful.
You know, when we were kids playing outside, pretending to be Power Rangers, we'd actually say this whenever we got hurt, because we were pathetic losers. In this game, there's also more focus on completing the levels in a faster time. There's a clock counting down through the whole thing, and if you beat the level within that time, you get an upgrade for your health bar. And just to keep things interesting, there's a secret artifact hidden in every level. If you find all 7 of them, you unlock the Quantum Ranger, who, as we all know, is the man. His stats are more or less maxed out, but he's not that distinct, so I stuck with the Red Ranger for this playthrough. Look, Red's the best, come on. It feels like there's a tiny bit more to this game, but overall, the formula is identical. You get to the end of the level, beat up the mutant boss, and face it again in a Megazord battle. Once again, the Megazords aren't improved, and sometimes it feels like they take ages to land a hit. In between each level, you get to learn moves through these training sessions in the clock tower, like this Grand Thump move, so there are more abilities on offer here compared to the last game. I also love that they use the clock tower as the hub world. I know it's basically just a rip-off of the warp room from Crash Bandicoot, but this was a key location in the show, and it's cool you can explore it in this game. You can even keep track of the mutants you've caught in the cryo freezer, which is a neat touch. Level 2 takes you to the Wild West, and can we talk about this key art for a second? Why did they always draw the Rangers so buff? They do it on the toy packaging as well. Even the girls were packing some serious beef. This level is just one enormous maze. You have to collect these generator pieces to unlock a force field, so you can rescue the sheriff from jail, but they're scattered all over the place, and you have to plan your route if you want to beat this level in time. Notice how the cyclobots are disguised as cowboys here, which at least offers some variation. This level can be quite puzzling, but I appreciate the added challenge here. And once you work it all out, it falls into place in a satisfying way. Once the sheriff is out of jail, you take on the boss, which you can only beat with the Ground Thump move. Level 3 takes place on the high seas, and this one is more straightforward for the most part. Just make it through the bowels of the ship, and avoid the pirate bots to get outside. This crate is pretty irritating though, since it takes forever to lift you up, and you're not sure where to jump off. Once you reach the top of the ship, confront Crabface, and your job is done. Level 4 is set in prehistoric times, and while it's a short level, it can be extremely frustrating. There are a lot of awkward platforming segments, and the camera angle doesn't make it easy to plan your jumps. It almost feels like luck every time you make it. Gotta be more careful. For a game that focuses more on platforming, they didn't focus on making the platforming fun. I died a lot of times here, and while you get 5 continues, if you lose them all, it's game over, with the Red Ranger nursing a tense, nervous headache. But if you can make it, you reach the boss in no time at all. This time, it's Nadira, Ransik's crazy daughter, so you have to teach her a lesson by beating her to a pulp. Once she's down...
Look out, Ranger! Nadira is mutating!
That didn't happen in the show. Yeah, so Nadira's huge now. Well, not really, since she's ridiculously short compared to the Megazord. There's something terribly odd about all this. After Nadira's bizarre adventure, level 5 takes you to a medieval castle, and this is another one of those maze levels. You have to touch 3 catapults to lower the drawbridge and get inside the castle, but it's not easy to figure out where you're supposed to go. It took me a lot of tries to get used to the right order, and even then, the platforming drove me insane. Some of these jumps are not easy to do with the finicky controls. But once you work it out, you can enter the castle to fight Gluto, who I feel like should be behind Nadira in the command chain of Rancic's gang, but somehow they got swapped around. This battle is pathetic. Gluto barely puts up a fight, and unusually, he's way harder to beat in the Megazord battle. I punched him and punched him, but it was ages before he registered a hit. I actually think a mouse would have a better chance of beating these mutants than the Megazord. Just 2 levels to go, and level 6 takes you to the Colosseum of Frax. Yeah, remember the episode of the show when Frax had his own Colosseum? This is a fairly long level, where you have to make your way through ancient Rome and find mosaic pieces to unlock the entrance to the Colosseum, because that's how locks work. The platforming isn't terrible here, but by this point of the game, you're sort of praying for it to end soon. Once you get inside the Colosseum, you confront Frax and give him a bot bashing, and then...
Look out, Ranger! Frax is mutating!
Okay, this makes no sense whatsoever. Frax is a robot, not a mutant, so how can he grow into a giant size? It defies all sense of logic. Still, on the bright side, I guess capturing Frax and trapping him in the freezer is a much happier ending than his disturbing death in the show. Okay, one last level in the game. The final challenge is set in the far future, where Rancic is hiding in his secret lair, and you have to put an end to his madness. The stupid platforming segments have gone into overdrive here. I really hate these jumps, and this thing where you have to avoid a rolling cog was boiling my blood pressure. Gotta buy better games. Just to add insult to massive head injury, you have to face some of the previous bosses yet again. First up is Nadira, who you can defeat quite easily with a ground stomp, followed by Frax, who goes down in a simple beating. How are these two even here if we already captured them in the freezer? No Gluto though, I see, so I guess he drew the short straw. Finally, you confront the man himself.
Rancic.
You've made it this far! Well, you make it no further.
Thank goodness he has the original voice, but how am I ever going to stop a crazy mutant like this? Electro Booster? Afraid not. I guess there should be some kind of epic confrontation, much like the final battle in the show, but in the end, it's just underwhelming. Rancic isn't that hard to defeat, and in less than a minute, I had him begging for mercy. And just to finish off...
Rancic is mutating!
Well, why not? It never happened in the show, but who cares by this point? Yes, there's one last Megazord battle to get through, which takes place in the show's opening or something. It doesn't take long to finish Rancic off, and once you do, you're rewarded with clips from the first couple episodes of the show, because I guess showing Rancic's true defeat at the end would resemble an actual reward.
Power Rangers, go!
I'm sure that's a longer go. Well, that was Power Rangers Time Force on the PS1, and while I think it's a superior game to Lightspeed Rescue, that's not saying too much. There's a bit more challenge, but it barely builds on the previous game, and while there is some merit to the music and the original actors, it all flies by in a blast. This game only took me 70 minutes to complete, making it even shorter than the other game, which is really saying something. What a powerful disappointment. That sums up my feelings for both of these games. Disappointment. Because I can imagine a great Power Rangers game for this time. Just picture a game where you start out as a new Ranger, and you have to build up your abilities over time. Like maybe you start with just your bare fists, where eventually you can upgrade to using those awesome Ranger weapons, like the blasters, vehicles, and even Mega Battle Mode. Maybe you could even customize your Zords just like in the show as well. Wouldn't that be a lot of fun? Unfortunately, I think that'll always be my dream childhood Power Rangers game. But to be fair, these games did kind of satisfy me at the time. Back then, I was amazed just to be able to play as a Power Ranger, so it at least cleared that very low bar for me, and I had to take what I could get. So there is a bit of nostalgia still tucked away for these relics of the past, but in the present day, these are two games where the power has well and truly faded. Power down.